Hello everyone and welcome to Turkish soap opera. Today's advances from Bitterland concern a particular event starring Demir and Yilmaz. An episode that no one would have ever expected, and instead it really happens. Keep watching this video and you will find out. But be warned, as it contains events that will happen later in the series. If you don't want to know the future storyline before it airs on network television, don't watch this video. Before starting, however, leave a nice like on Trust, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss all the next videos. Finally, leave a comment to share your emotions. Fikret and Yilmaz are sitting next to each other in the warehouse talking. Yilmaz fears that his godfather Fikret may not forgive him for not warning him of his departure. However, Fikret replies that for the moment he has not yet expressed himself and that now he is in garden, sitting on the bench with his pigeons. Yilmaz feels a sense of guilt towards him because he has never behaved like this. Indeed, he has always sought solace in the godfather, but this time he decided not to. His cousin tries to reassure him that Fikret loves him and will surely forgive him, even if it takes some time. Fikret only urges him to have a little patience. Furthermore, Yilmaz is in pain for the fate that his life has reserved for him, because he has distanced him from his great desire, which is simply to be with Zuleyha. Fikret tries to console him and cheer him up by reminding him that hope is the last to die and that the last word has not yet been said. Yilmaz, however, points out that he no longer has any patience or hope. So Fikret asks him if he regrets anything and does he regret what he did. Yilmaz at this point tells him that he hasn't regretted anything, that he would do it all over again 100 times, just to be with Zuleyha forever. The only thing he wouldn't do, if he could go back, is marry Mujgan so she won't suffer. Meanwhile, Fikret, who is in his garden, receives a letter from Yilmaz, who wrote to him before leaving and in which the godson expresses his gratitude for the good he has done him, asking his forgiveness for having fled without warning. He also explains to him that he feels guilty, but he urges him to understand it, because if he had confided his intentions to him, this time too he would have tried to dissuade him, preventing him from fleeing in search of his happiness. In the letter he continues by expressing his gratitude for when he was in prison and for the help that the godfather gave him. It then continues on the fact that both of them have suffered for two women and for their love thwarted, and that the fact of seeing him so sad and dejected for not having gone away with hunger, has spurred him to act, giving him the courage to take the decision to flee with Zuleyha. So she asks him again to understand it because, if he had been in his shoes, he too would have acted the same way. He closes the letter thanking once again. After he finished reading, Fikret burst into tears. Demir also reads the letter that Yilmaz sent him, in which he justifies himself for having taken away his children, saying that he had to do it despite understanding the pain of a father who loses his children. However, he was forced, because Demir always held them prisoner together with Zuleyha and no one was happy, as he always put a spoke in the wheel, preventing them from feeling good and letting them live a peaceful life. He also accuses him of deciding to be a cruel man and giving both Zuleyha and Yilmaz himself a living hell. He also adds that when he got out of prison, he did everything possible to prevent Zuleyha from going to him, even distancing her from her son to whom he gave his father's name, forever blackmailing her and making him aware of all the evil she has caused to go through to her and to him. Yilmaz closes the letter stressing, however, that their love goes beyond her conceit and his material wealth. After he's finished reading, Demir crumples up the letter nervously. On the other hand, Fikret, after reading all of Yilmaz's letter, goes to the warehouse to talk to him and tell him in person that he forgives him with all his heart, because a father cannot deny his son and cannot hurt him, so that there is always a place for him in her heart. Thus the Yilmaz and Fikret are moved as they hug each other tightly. The evening after Mujgan has read Yilmaz's letter, he vents to Fikret complaining that in any case he tried to take her son away from her, but at that moment Yilmaz and Fikret arrive. The embarrassed doctor tries to leave, but before doing so she is stopped by Fikret, who asks her to talk about the situation the following day. After accepting Mujgan, she leaves. When Fikret sees the Yilmaz in the villa, he is glad to see him there, understanding that he has reconciled with the godfather. Meanwhile, Demir goes to the cemetery to his mother Hunker, confessing that he had calmed down. Thanks to her, He also understood that he cannot hinder the love of Zuleyha and Yilmaz, and he cannot continually get in the way of the strong feeling that binds them. He concludes in tears, revealing to his deceased mother that he no longer recognizes himself. Meanwhile, Fakeli also arrives and says he admires him because he has finally understood his mistakes, making him understand that what he feels now is the fruit of redemption. So it is normal to feel this way. Demir reveals Yilmaz's letter to Fakeli, and admits that he was to blame for everything and all the suffering he caused. At such a sincere apology, Fakeli turns to her deceased beloved Hunker, telling her that she must be proud of her son, because it shows that despite everything, he still has a heart and a conscience and is willing to recover by putting everything right. Just admitting you were wrong is the first step in trying to undo the damage he has done. Later, Fakeli urges his godson not to argue with Mujgan anymore. He says he understands her motives, but now he doesn't have to argue with her anymore. There's no longer any need, also because in this way he doesn't solve the problems, while Fakeli has a solution that could work for both of them. When Mujgan returns home with her aunt Bahis, while they are at the table, the doctor reveals to Fakeli that she has decided to leave with her aunt, because she no longer intends to keep her husband close to her, since she is not the woman he wants. Loves. Fakeli tries to calm the waters, emphasizing that he is now established that the marriage between them has reached the end of the line, but that is precisely why they have to fix the separation for the good of the little one. Mujgan, however, puts his hands forward, telling them that he will not allow Yilmaz to take it away from him. But Fakeli immediately points out to her that he has found a solution, that is to divorce, but to remain there together in the villa. In this way he will always be able to have his little nephew close, and instead Yilmaz will leave the house, but will be able to spend time with his son at any time. Yilmaz says that it's fine for him, but also adds that when he comes to visit his son, he can also bring Layla and Adnan, since they are brothers of the little one, so that they can spend some time together too. Mujgan appears unhappy, but Fakeli urges her to stay calm because this is the only solution to be able to live in peace. Even though she and Yilmaz are forced to see each other over the baby, they still need to find some kind of peace in order to move forward. Mujgan accepts her turn, but underlines the importance that they do not separate her from the little one. Now the only thing to do is to wait for Demir to separate from Zuleyha. The next morning Demir does not see Zuleyha and asks Gultan to tell her to come to him. When Zuleyha arrives, she immediately asks Demir why she made her get off, but he invites her to sit down. The young woman sits down, but as she settles down she reproaches him for having taken away her children more times than her and that he has made her a prisoner for all those years, so now she asks him what else he wants from her. Demir starts by asking her if she will ever end this story. She replies that it will never end, because she will try until her death, to run away with Yilmaz to live happily. Demir starts to cry, and with tears running down her face, he confesses to Zuleyha that he understood about her, and despite loving her madly, he decided to separate for her sake. Zuleyha is somewhat surprised, but still a little incredulous. At that point Demir says that she and Yilmaz deserve a life full of love and joy. The one they've always wanted, but on one condition. She wants little Layla to stay with him, however she can visit her whenever she wants. Zuleyha begins to cry and begs him not to take the child away from her, because her children are her reason for living. Demir urges her not to take everything away, because he has already lost Hunker and her children, and now he is about to lose her and Adnan too. So he begs her not to take her only child away because she needs a reason to go on living. Finally they come to a compromise and she leaves. Soon after, Demir decides to talk to Yilmaz to end their conflicts and finally make peace. In the meeting, Demir underlines the fact that this whole situation would not have happened if Zuleyha hadn't arrived alone at the beginning and if she hadn't subsequently told him that she was brother and sister with Yilmaz, but the latter countered by telling him not to justify himself with this because he then learned the truth. Demir replies that he is not making excuses and that when Zuleyha told him the truth, he was already in love with her and this led him to hurt her, and that although there were simple conflicts between him and Yilmaz, they always became heavier. Now he only wants the happiness of Zuleyha and also of his mother Hunker, who in the last period had encouraged him to treat her well and make her happy. He then reveals to him that he has decided to divorce and that this will happen in the shortest possible time. Finally, he also informs him that he has reached a compromise. That is, that he will have custody of Layla, while that of Adam will have it Zuleyha, and that both will be able to see their respective children at any time. At this point Yilmaz also accepts this condition, telling him to be calm because that's what he wants too, so he won't create any kind of problem or obstacle about it. At the end of the meeting they shake hands as a sign of peace, and Demir wishes him and Zuleyha all the good and happiness in this world. Even for today the advances end here. Let us know what you think in the comments. If you liked this video, leave a nice like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos.